Hey everyone, it's a good Monday morning here. I hope everybody had a great weekend, enjoyed Saturday's awesome weather at least. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. I know last week I talked about ditching the new beds, or starting a video on ditching the new beds. Well, over the weekend, obviously we got like 1.5 inches or so of rain. Things are a little too wet over there to start that. So now we're gonna do the second year, what we do for the second year, I guess, of ditching the beds. So this was planted last spring. As you can tell, it got really good vine growth last year. Still some areas to fill in, but it's coming along rather nicely. This is one of the beds that you'll start to see buds in this year. Not going to be a great crop, but also it has a lot to fill in yet too. But what we're going to do here today is, this ditch was cut with the excavator. We sloped the bank and grassed this in last year. And now we're going to come along with our new ditch cleaner, basically. So this is a design that we made. It runs along the ditch. This spins in there at a really fast pace, or a really fast speed. It shoots it out here and up onto the dike. So as you can tell here, I'm gonna try to run it in the ground about 2 to 3 inches, cutting a new ditch here all the way around. And so the reason we do this is to flow the water around better when we're flooding, to get an even flood, a more even flood than just if it was to flow in there and then have to travel throughout the bed. Here it can flow in the bulkhead, travel around this ditch, and then kind of fill up evenly throughout the bed instead of just coming in from one side. So we're gonna get working on this. I'll show you the view of it running, and we're gonna give her. Here's a view of it running, and I'm gonna go through kind of how it works. So you can see that the fins are flapping there, throwing the material out. So here we have our hydraulic motor, and we have it connected to a solid shaft there. We kind of have like a joint, 2 joints right there. So if something does happen, it doesn't wear out the motor. It'll wear out right there before it wears out the motor. We have it hooked to our mower arm bracket. This is what we use to mow in the summer. And that's how it's made. One of the reasons we go along with that ditcher there is for this reason here. It's a good way of natural weed control. We don't want these weeds to be able to grow up, seed out, and blow their seeds out into the bed, because right now at this state, if a seed was to blow in here, it would plant really easy, and then we have a problem with weeds in the bed. They won't fill in these, the cranberries then won't fill in these drier spots or bare spots, and then we have a problem with weeds throughout the future of the bed. So it's just easier if we go along at the beginning, in the young stage of this bed, make a deeper ditch, clear out all the weeds, and start fresh. Here's the view from the cab. As you can tell, the cab gets really dirty when we're doing this. Depending on the wind, it blows it right back into my windshield. We got a pretty good row going here. We're on the end. We always dig the end just slightly deeper because we want the water to travel to the end. So, what I'm having to do to control this is this joystick here controls the head, so I can raise and lower the head based on this joystick, which I'm constantly moving because the dikes aren't level and stuff like that, so I'm constantly having to adjust. The RPM, right now I'm running it really high because it doesn't matter if we fling it across into the ditch there. But when we're running next to a bed, we run it pretty consistently low so that we're flinging all the material up onto the dike like you can see here. We don't want it shooting over into the next bed over, or we don't want it piling up along that edge so that it just flows back into the ditch at a certain point. We want to find that happy medium and get it up on the dike. The RPM Speeds runs a hydraulic motor down there, which is powering the ditch cleaner. And that's how she runs. Motoring right along, and all of a sudden the head stopped. Let's go check out what we got. Oh no. What do we have? Oh, right there. Just a rock wedged in there. Sitting there just like that, blocking it, so obviously it's hard for that to throw a rock out the chute, but glad that's all. Actually, a lot of times when we have that happen, it bends our bracket, but it seems as though we redesigned these teeth once, and now it seems as though it didn't bend it, so that's a good sign. All right, back to cleaning the ditch. right, if you've seen my previous videos, you've known my 4:54 mark. I just came to grab the camera after running through this ditch, and it was on 4 minutes and 54 seconds. Just had to point it out. So here I'm in an established, this one's an older bed. It's on the lower portion of our marsh, which is on the lowest, closest to groundwater. So in these ditches, there's constantly standing water. And here's another reason we need to run our new ditcher through this bed, or this ditch, I should say. So this is like it's a floating bog, basically. It's a floating mat that clogs the ditch and causes a bunch of problems. Say we need to flood this for frost again, that would float up onto here and just mat it all down, making a lot of work for us. So we're gonna go through and clean this ditch full of water. I'm back with the cab view of the ditch that's full of water. So I have to run this at a much lower RPM than if we're doing a dry bed. When we're doing a dry bed, we're cutting about 2 or 3 inches out, and that's the only thing that you're getting. Here we're getting an inch or so of sand plus like 4 or 5 inches of water. So just the extra volume would definitely shoot it over into the ditch. So that's my reason for running a lesser RPM. It's a great rainy day project. Some end of the day necessities. Now tomorrow I'll be able to see what I'm doing for at least the first couple seconds. Here is the finished product. As you can tell, it leaves a nice clean cut ditch. The weeds are gone. Way better drainage and water flow around there without blockages. As you can tell, they got some sand up on the bank here or on the side. The grass is established, so it should hold that. And then the rest of it just came up here to add to the top of the dike material. And that's the dry bed. Here's a ditch that's been cleaned. The main goal on this was to get this out of here, the floating bog mess that's in here. We got 99% of it. It's hard to get it. It kind of grows into this edge so it stays there, but we got the ditch nice and clean. Also, you can tell on the dike up here, we took a thin skimming of the bottom just to get all of it really nice and clean. So that was a success. We hope that you guys will stay tuned. We're going to be transferring back over to the new plantings, ditching those, sloping those, and probably not this week, but eventually seeding those. So stay tuned for that video later this week.